So let's start with what forgiveness actually is. Most of this controversy about forgiveness, I think, begins with our cultural understanding of what forgiveness is. We tend to think that if I forgive someone, then I don't carry feelings anymore about it. I don't remember it. Everything's hunky-dory. It's all better. Well, it is better when you forgive someone. But to forgive actually means not to stand as judge and jury anymore. That's all it means. It just means that I am not going to be for you someone who holds this against you, against myself, against anyone or anything. It does not mean seeing whatever happened as okay, no problem, completely excusable, fine, do it again. Doesn't mean any of that. It just means not judging it. Now, how can you do that? Well, it's actually not that complicated. You can begin to realize you have no idea why most things happen. You can sit here right now and be in judgment of the fact that you ate 2 bowls of cereal this morning when you should only eaten 1. How do you know that? This is my question. How do you know that? How do you know about anything, really, beyond what's happening this very moment? Now, this is a silly, of course, example that I used. But what would follow is, how do you know that you're not going to go for a walk in the woods and get lost and not have anything to eat for a whole day? You know, it's very something very simple and silly. But we go around all the time acting like we are not only judge and jury, but people who just know everything. That we know why things happen. Actually, for the most part, they happen. And so, for instance, sometimes I might say something that offends someone else. Now, I could be really sorry that I offended someone who wants to offend, right? But can I judge the purpose of it? Can I judge what that will mean in their lives? Maybe for them it's just a time to learn to forgive. Forgive me, right? Forgive me, not hold it against me. Even though it still may have been damaging, it may take a while for them to get over it. Maybe that's all it is, learning to forgive. Maybe it's part of a bigger pattern. Maybe what I did reminds them of their mother, who reminds them of their grandmother, who reminds them of their great-grandmother. All of a sudden they go, oh my goodness, there's this chain of generations. This thing is happening, it keeps happening. How do I break it? How does it get better? I'm raising just, questions, right? But how can you really know? And so as you begin to just move in love, and all love means is that you let things be as they are. Love for yourself, love for others. You begin to live in forgiveness. Does not mean not seeing when things hurt. Does not mean anything other than taking yourself out of that space. Where all of a sudden you need to judge everything. It's so exhausting, isn't it? It's so exhausting. I had someone come to me when I was at a family reunion, and one of my daughters-in-law came to me and shared a couple of things that I had done that were being difficult for her. And it was just so lovely. I was so glad she did. And I said to her, wow, I agree with you completely that on your side those things would have been difficult. And I'm sorry, I didn't want them to be difficult for you. And so forgive me. Well, that didn't mean that she forgot that I'd done them, or even that sometimes it wouldn't hurt thinking back on it. But what she did was, she released me. She didn't have to be judge and jury. Now, that felt good to me, but what I want to say is it was much more important for her. She could have carried that for years and years. And it could have gone into her tissues, created illness that needs to hold that lack of forgiveness. Who knows? As it was, we had a sober kind of 10 minutes, and then we had a half an hour of laughing and talking and loving each other all over again. So, what do you want in your life? Know that loving isn't that hard. And neither is forgiving. All forgiving means is that you can say, I don't know. I don't know.